Jasmine Show. Today we're talking a very popular topic. We're talking about the street drugs Molly and Flakka. And today we have with us our expert in Miss Alfreda King. And we also have another young man joining us in Mr. Jonathan Bertrand to discuss the social networking effect. This is an episode you don't want to miss, but before we talk our topic, let's talk health and news and health in Hollywood. In health and news, instant alcohol, of course, with its popularity, has great use, but has become a growing source of hazard for infants regarding poisoning. The Georgia Poison Center director, Dr. Gaylord Lopez, cites a 400% increase in calls related to children ingesting sanitizer in the center's analysis of poison control across the country, rising from over 3,000 actual reported cases in 2010 to a little over 16,000 reported cases in 2014. The alcohol content found in your average wine or beer ranges between 5 and 12%, while that in sanitizer ranges between 45 and 90% of concentration. Alcohol poisoning can cause confusion, vomiting, drowsiness, with only a few squirts needed to be ingested to land an infant in the hospital. In other news, and that news was stated by CNN, and in other news by CNN, cucumbers in recent weeks have led to a salmonella outbreak as it's been a recall from Mexican-grown cucumbers, as over 341 people in 30 states have reported cucumber-based related food poisoning, resulting in about 2 deaths, according to the Centers for Disease Control. The CDC reports that domestic-grown produce is not at risk, with Arizona being the hardest hit, suffering approximately 70 cases to date. Salmonella food poisoning symptoms include nausea, diarrhea, and abdominal cramping. The recalled brands can be found on the CDC's website. In health in Hollywood, in the past few months, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because we were off season, but the Sixers' former 3-time NBA MVP and Finals MVP, Moses Malone, was found dead at the age of 60 in his Norfolk, Virginia hotel room in September after failing to report to a charity function. USA Today cited the chief medical examiner's listing of hypertensive and cardiovascular disease as the cause of death. Family friends report that Malone had sought medical help concerning an irregular heartbeat during a workout a week prior to his death. Moses' passing comes just 1 month after the death of former Philadelphia teammate Daryl Dawkins. Dawkins, an Orlando native, nicknamed Chocolate Thunder by Stevie Wonder, suffered a heart attack at just the age of 58. Stick around, we'll be talking about Molly and Flakka with our special guest, Mrs. Alfreda King.
I'm living better right now.
From House Arrest 2,
NCNW,
FAMU Track,
The Incomparable Marching 100.
we can think of 1887 reasons to give.
Can you?
I am one of the co-founders of the 1887 Reasons to Give campaign. Why 1887 Reasons to Give, you ask? Because it's simple. Because of FAMU, I am.
Greetings, I am Second Lieutenant Melody Sade Traylor, a 2015 social work candidate for graduation. The class of 2015 has put forth this campaign, FAMU of yesterday, today, and forever. What are your 1887 reasons to give?
I am Second Lieutenant Devontae Morales, graduating with a degree in Allied Health Sciences with a concentration in pre-physical therapy. FAMU is the only school I applied to.
So pull out your phones right now and join the class of 2015 in the first student-led giving campaign by donating $18.87 in the link below.
strike, strike, and strike again.
Welcome back. So today we are talking a drug, or actually 2 drugs that I'm sure if you listen to R&B, hip hop, pop, even watching movies, you've probably heard of it. And those 2 drugs are Molly and Flakka. And today, as stated, we have an expert with us of this village, Mrs. Carolyn Alfreda King. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And so before we get started on this highly popularized, 2 highly popularized drugs, what's an overview of your background?
My overview of my background, I am a supervisor of a reentry program. It's called the LIFT program.
Okay.
I'm a substance abuse professional, meaning I'm a CAP. It's kind of equivalent to having a master's in substance abuse treatment and counseling. And I received my undergrad in social sciences from Florida State. And I'm currently in grad school studying criminal justice at Florida State.
Okay, awesome. And you've been very open, you've been very candid about your struggles with addiction in the past.
Yes.
Ultimately, what led you to your success of remaining clean and disease-free? And do you find that your background helps in prevention and counseling for others?
It does, it really does. It was such a dark period in my life, and I realized that if something did not change, I was gonna die and or be incarcerated for, if not all, most of my life. So when I chose life, change happened. So I have been 15 years sober as of March, and I didn't relapse. I stuck to the plan. Faith-based counseling was the route that I went. I mean, there's many to go, so I always like to say there's a couple of ways to get to the stadium. As long as we get there, that's the ultimate goal. We want to watch the game, right?
Right.
So there's a couple of different avenues that people can go to achieve and sustain sobriety. So it was a long road, but commitment and my life and restoration of my family, reaching my goals and my aspirations, because I know, Miss Jasmine, that I was not created to be a crack addict, that there was more to Free the King.
We are so happy to hear your story, that we're happy and we celebrate you in that.
Thank you.
We really do.
Thank you.
And we're really having this episode because we want to talk about these two drugs that are growing so quickly.
Yes.
And we see it on the news, the different incidents of people who are either have taken Molly or Flakka, and some crazy situations happen as a result of that.
Correct.
And so how can we identify someone who may be using those substances as Molly or Flakka?
Well, a couple of things. Flakka is more common right now than the Molly and ecstasy, the MDMA. So what we're seeing, your question is how would one know? So you're going to see people exhibit several different characteristics, such as superhuman strength. They will sweat profusely and want to drink a lot of water. You will have involuntary movement, like they could be sitting down and meaning your leg just start moving involuntarily. They will have rising body temperatures. That's why a lot of the videos that we've been seeing, people are running around with their clothes off because their body temperatures are rising up to 104, 106. So they're coming out of their clothes. Paranoia, danger is everywhere, someone's following me and it's not. We also have a lot of aggression. So that's why it's very dangerous to try to help someone that's on this drug, because you don't want to, endanger yourself and or anyone else that's around.
And what population is more susceptible to the addiction or the use of these drugs?
This is a great question. All population.
Okay.
There are some mitigating factors for some drugs, like your SES, which is your socially economic status, age, what part of town you live in, trauma that may not have been treated, maybe untreated or undiagnosed mental health issues, that people use that to self-medicate. But drugs has affected all population. It's in affluent areas, in low poverty areas. They're at 13 years old and they go up to 50. So I think capturing society as a whole for prevention and treatment is the way to combat this disease.
And from a lot of the reports, Flakka is very cheap. It's
Very
like
cheap.
$5. So
And even cheaper, $3.
$3. Okay,
Yes.
so even cheaper. And you have families who may have witnessed their family members who are using these drugs. What can family members do when they experience this with a loved one? What is some advice for them?
One of the first things they need to do, if they see someone in a Flakka episode, if you will, they have to seek medical attention. Because as I stated before, their body temperature is going to rise, which means they would like to consume a lot of water. That can be very dangerous, because now you can develop what they call hyponatremia, which is your brain is like literally in a pool of water. It starts to swell, and that can lead to death and or strokes. So they need medical attention first. Medical attention first. If you see someone peeling off their clothes, running around the house and doing all of that, try to call a paramedic. They're going to call the police because that person is aggressive. And they can be very dangerous because they're not in a sound, stable mind. So medical attention first. then I would recommend that they go to treatment and counseling because it is an addiction, and we want to help them get over that addiction and into recovery so that they can live their life and be free from the bondage of addiction.
Thank you so much, because we had our recent case in Tallahassee of a man who was under the influence of one of the street drugs, and it ended very badly. So we're grateful that you're here sharing this information. And when we come back, we'll be talking about prevention and services provided through this village. So stick around.
Living better right now.
Welcome home. Back to friends, family, and loved ones. You've done your duty for your country. Now, it's time to do your duty for yourself. Chart a new course and achieve honor for you and your family. Start with a top-notch education that will take you to new terrains. Soldier on at Florida A&M University.
I'm feeling better right now. I'm living better.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We are talking about Molly and Flakka, and a little later, we'll be talking about the social networking theory, or the social networking effect, actually. And we're talking about the different things that people have experienced or the results of using these two street drugs of Molly and Flakka. So what are some services provided at this village?
Well, we provide treatment and counseling. A person would first have to come in and have an assessment and get an individualized treatment plan. And one of the things that we really have to be careful about is that first 24 to 48 hours of usage, you can't really give an accurate assessment when someone's coming off of this particular drug, or any drug really. So you want to make sure that that person is in a stable place, so they can come in and get an assessment, get an individualized treatment plan, because everybody's plan is going to be different. Everyone's needs are different depending on different types of drugs. So we offer that. From the prevention aspect, which I think is awesome, is that we have prevention specialists that are in middle schools and in high schools here in Tallahassee, and they go and initially talk about the 4 gateway drugs. This is important because we don't want them to go into the hardcore drugs. Typically, very few people are going to use Molly, Flakka, heroin, meth without first smoking marijuana and drinking. So you want to educate them on those dangers to prevent them from going into the harder drugs as cocaine and meth and now the Flakka and the Molly. Prevention also does some community outreach services. They will do workshops and events in the community, churches, school events, just community events, people that want to learn to better educate themselves and their family on addiction and or drugs.
And what is the biggest role played in a successful recovery?
Commitment.
Commitment, okay.
If you're not committed to your recovery, you're going to fail, because there are so many varying factors that go into recovery. So you have to think about work. Many people think about how they're going to pay their bills if they're in a residential program. How will society accept me coming out as having an addiction? What do I do to replace the high that I receive from the dopamine effect that they were getting, that their body is now learning how to produce naturally? Because when you use drugs long term, your body will not produce natural dopamine anymore. So the only way for you to enjoy life is, or whatever you're doing, is through using the drug. Once you come off the drug, now going to the movies is boring. Going to mom's Sunday dinner is boring. Now going to school is boring. So your body has to heal and take time to naturally produce that dopamine again.
And what would be some tips? As I stated, the street drugs, Molly and Flakka, we hear about it in the music, we hear about it, it's pretty much popularized. What would be some tips for parents? I know a lot of parents may say, well, I don't know the name of these different drugs, or, so what are some tips for some parents?
They gotta learn. We have to learn as parents, grandparents. You're gonna have to get out there and learn. So when they have community events, even though your child could be a straight A student, peers and what they think of them oftentimes take precedence over what they've learned at home. And it doesn't mean that the parents aren't doing a great job. It's just that our kids want to fit in. So someone say, here, take a joint, smoke the e-cigarette. They're putting the Flakka in that. And I just kind of quickly want to go back, Ms. Jasmine, about recovery. Commitment is first. but you also have to understand that there may be a relapse.
Okay.
Because that's common in recovery, and you can't give up. You're gonna have to learn the people, places, and things. You're going to have to make some alterations in your life, which won't be easy.
Okay.
So there's a few things that go along with recovery, but commitment is first, finding the right program. This village, we have great programs, awesome programs. It can fit juveniles all the way up to, older adults, women. We have a couple of residential programs. So I just wanted to, to go back and cover recovery, because that's what we're here to help people achieve and to sustain, is that long-term recovery. But as far as parents, get to know their friends. Got to get to know their friends. Go out in the community, and when they have these free workshops, go ahead and learn more about it, so you can start seeing maybe some characteristics of them not doing well in school. Maybe they're sleeping too much. Now they're on the phone all the time. They're leaving the house at midnight when you told them they should be in at 10. So just keeping your eye on what's going on.
Looking at the change in behavior.
Yes.
And what would be some tips to young adults, youth, middle age, anyone who's considering trying any of the street drugs, or Flakka, Molly, any of those drugs? A lot of times people think, well, one time it's harmless. So what would be some tips to people who are just considering, who may have not tried any of it yet?
Other than just don't do it.
Other than just don't do it?
I mean, well, the one thing about Molly and with Flakka, but with Molly especially, you don't know what you're getting.
Okay.
A lot of people are getting crystal meth, which methamphetamine we know is being made of anything under the kitchen sink. Okay. And it says on a lot of the supplies that they're using, not for human consumption. So you're putting these things in your body, not knowing the long-term damage. And one of the things that Flakka especially is, it's a new drug, so we're learning more about it, but that it leads to kidney damage.
Okay.
And then that can lead to death. So you can be 16 years old, 18 years old using Flakka, not for a very long time, and develop kidney disease. And who's on the list to get a kidney transplant? Is it gonna be the 30-year-old mom that, just genetic, or is it gonna be the 16-year-old boy from the South Side that's been using a drug?
All right.
So it's very, very dangerous. You don't wanna use it because you can die one time. First time use, you can die.
And lastly, before we close out, just if you can just give us a quick overview of some need-to-knows for someone who may have already used the substance, or who may find themselves actually already addicted to the substance.
Treatment and counseling.
Okay.
Go and get help. And see, when you get help, you need to first get your assessment, because you got to know what drugs you've used, how long you've used them. Do you have any other health concerns along with this drug? So that way you can talk to your own physician about what you're doing as far as your addiction, because you don't want to have any medicinal interaction that could be harmful to you as well. So I think that the more we talk about it, like what we're doing here, and not that we're judging anyone, we understand that young people want to live and be free, but you want to be free and alive.
Right.
You want to be alive. So I just think educating them on the dangers, long-term damage to your body, to your brain, to your heart, to your kidneys. I mean, and I think that as we do that, and your show and other things that our organization, This Village, is doing and trying to help with all drugs. And one last thing I wanted to say, a lot of people, we are concentrating on Molly and Flakka right now. But the program that I supervise, we still have opiate users,
right,
cocaine users, people that use codeine. So there's
which is another popular one in the music industry.
It is
codeine.
lean,
Talk of codeine.
the lean.
Yes,
yes,
the lean.
The lean.
Yes, Mrs. King, the
yes.
lean.
So I just think we have to educate people. Once they come to us and need help, we need to be there to help them, to be along this journey with them, and even get outside help, going to meetings in conjunction with your treatment, making sure that you change those people, places, and things. So when someone calls and say, hey, let's go to the moon, we got to say, man, I can't go, I'm going to a meeting.
Right. Well, thank you so much for all of your information, all of your advice, and the way you shared it as well. And we're just grateful, and we celebrate you as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
We're so grateful
you.
to have you.
Thank you.
So coming up next, we have Mr. Jonathan Bertrand, and we are talking about the social networking effect. Stick around to find out what that's all about.
They fought for social change. They fought against tyrants. They fought for human rights. Yet behind these achievements are individuals who waged a more personal war. They fought the struggle against mental illness, and they won.
Welcome back. Joining us is Mr. Jonathan Bertrand, and we're talking about the social networking effect. What's your story? And he bought us this cool shirt. It all started with a hashtag. So what is the social networking effect? And give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. Well, first, I started this project, The Social Networking Effect, What's Your Story, in 2010. And it's a movement to promote social media awareness among the masses. And over time, I realized that I myself was going through the phases of the social networking effect, directly and indirectly. And I realized that it not only affected me, but it affected those around me. And I started in my freshman year of high school, and I'm now a sophomore in college.
Okay.
And it's interesting to see the process of how social media not only affected communications among teenagers, adults, and even the younger ones. And I'm trying to highlight those things, that it's important to spread awareness about those things, because they don't watch what they post. Secondly, they think that I'm invincible and I can just do anything I want. And third, I want to show that it does cause mental health issues.
Okay.
And I myself have been through that, and that was the cause for me creating this when I went to a facility, because I was addicted to social media, and they looked at me like, what?
Is that possible?
Yeah, is that possible? And I said, yes, it is. And they're like, no, you're paranoid. No, it's the substances you've been using. No, it's your schizophrenia. And I was like, no, it's not. It's the social media. It was the onset of that. And from that, I created this project, and I've reached 12 different countries. And just to see the kind of outreach I've gotten in over a year, it's amazing.
And we're happy to have you, because this is your first time really speaking publicly about your project.
Yes, it is.
And you mentioned you've reached 12 different countries. Is there a target population you have in ages, or is this for everyone?
It's for everyone. It has no age, it has no race, and it also has, everything that you want in it. And that's the beauty of this project. It can connect to anyone, anywhere, any language. And I started this ground base, but to see it growing, to see the kind of cultures I'm reaching, seeing the kind of ages I'm reaching, from elementary school all the way down to the doctorate, person.
A variety of people.
Yes.
And earlier we were talking about Molly and Flakka and all the different ways that you've heard about it. And so I'm sure social media is another area.
Yes.
Could your project be used to raise awareness regarding drug addiction, or any of those things, mental health, as you stated earlier?
Yes, it can. And that was also one of the reasons why I started this too, because I realized that the social media platform can reach millions of people in a click of a button. And I tell people, if I can touch one person, I can touch many. So Flakka and Molly, of course, is now the new norms, Flakka itself. And I myself have found out through social media what that really was. And I know with this project, it can venture into many different things. And that's the whole goal of this.
And where can people learn more about this social networking effect? What's your story?
People can learn more at thesocialnetworkingeffect.com, or they can go to Facebook and type in The Social Networking Effect, or Instagram, The Social Networking Effect hashtag.
So it's all over social media, everywhere
Yes.
that they can find it. Is there anything else briefly that you'd like to just share with us about this project? Or?
And one thing I would like to say is that I would like the viewers that are viewing me today to understand that social media is an everlasting thing.
It's powerful.
Very powerful. And if you use it the right way, you can connect to people from all over the world. You can create opportunities for yourself that now people think you have to go to college for. Of course you do, to get certain degrees, but you can use social media to advance the process. And with this project, I myself have done that. And of course, you got to lead by example. So when you check out the website, when you check out the social media accounts, you will see what I'm talking about and that you can connect to anyone and you can also impact people positively, not negatively.
Awesome. And so the purpose is to impact people in a positive and powerful way. And we're so glad that you shared this information with us and that you came and allowed us to be the first ones that you spoke with about this. So we're so grateful for that, Jonathan. And we hope that this will reach everyone and that people will check out the project.
It will.
So coming up next, we'll have our What You're Snacking On segment with the fitness preacher himself, Coach O'Neil Brown. I'm sure you guys have been enjoying the recipes and the snacks, so stick around. You don't want to miss that.
Living better right now.
They fought for social change. They fought against tyrants. They fought for human rights. Yet behind these achievements are individuals who waged a more personal war. They fought the struggle against mental illness, and they won.
Thanks, Jasmine. And you're with Coach O'Neil, the fitness preacher. And what you snacking on? Well, I have spaghetti squash right here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is spaghetti squash I got from the supermarket. If you notice, it's got its seeds in there. And what I normally would do is take a knife and cut all the seeds out of it. And then what I'll do, put it in the oven on about 350 to 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. I'll wrap it up in a foil. Sometimes you could also put it in the microwave. Because I like my things cooked healthy and good, I normally put it 100% in the oven. What I'll do when I'm finished cooked is take the fork, and this spaghetti squash is very healthy, delicious for you guys. And what I love about the spaghetti squash has calcium, magnesium, B6, vitamin A, vitamin C. You'll take some of that. And not to mention, also what I did, I made me some veggies. And you could put your veggies on top of it, because I seasoned it up real, real good. And then put a little bit to the side, right there. With my veggies, I got mushroom in there, bell peppers, corn, broccoli, red onions. And then I take my cilantro, dab it, voila. Let me put another one on top of here. Boom. Ready? There it is. 1, 2, easy. And remember, it's all about what you're snacking with the Jasmine. Boom!
They fought for social change. They fought against tyrants. They fought for human rights. Yet behind these achievements are individuals who waged a more personal war. They fought the struggle against mental illness, and they won.
We really hope you all enjoyed our segment today. It's always our effort to provide the most up-to-date information that you can enjoy and utilize. We're so grateful for our guests who joined us, and we just hope that you'll keep watching this season, and we hope it's been good so far. You can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and keep the conversation going using the hashtag TJS. And if you want to talk about those delicious treats from Coach O'Neil Brown, the fitness preacher, you can always use the hashtag TJSWSO for what you're snacking on. Until next week, I'm your host, Jasmine Simmons.
Right now.